Hey, Donald Trump is crashing the economy on purpose. He's not doing this on accident or because he's stupid, even though we all like to think that he is. He's doing this for a reason. Number one, if it's too expensive or more expensive for other countries to import their goods here, it's going to eventually force America to do more in terms of production and manufacturing and all that. Eventually, not immediately. And in the meantime, while the stocks are crashing and people can't afford the goods that they're used to buying, all his friendly billionaire investor friends are going to pick up every little morsel that they can so that in 2 years, 3 years, they've already got the goods, they've got the properties, they've got the industry, they've got the businesses, they've got the stocks. And when things pick up again, oh my God, they're more wealthy. It's so insane to think that a billionaire who is working alongside the world's richest man wants to see the lower class and the middle class become better off. It's just insane to believe that. Donald Trump is doing this on purpose because you, a layperson, if the stock market's crashing, you're going to sell before it hits nothing. Wealthy people, on the other hand, are going to hold it, and then when it's low, they're going to buy more of it. This is what we saw with GameStop. Do you not remember that? This is all a ploy. And furthermore, if he crashes the economy, if he pulls the stock markets way down, if people start freaking out and protesting and they can't afford their groceries or their bills and they can't afford their housing, really seems like we need the president to step in and help this country, doesn't it? It's going to give him way more power than he needs or deserves. This is a ploy. Everybody's falling for it. I don't know. Hey, Donald Trump is crashing the economy on...
I don't know if it's just wealthy people. I think that there should be, it's not just wealthy people. It's patient people, rational, calm, smart, educated, intelligent people who aren't going to just make knee-jerk reactions and sell. My take. Could be a hot take. I don't know. How many of you fall into this category? Let me know if this comment resonates. Deborah Morgan, she left us on this morning's video about Jeff Bezos. It wasn't really about Bezos. It was really more so about just the overall economy, what's happening, and how to get prepared. She says, my family don't have money to develop a plan, so we're screwed. And I personally am not going to put myself further in debt to try to invest.
At what point in time does this become Trump's economy? Because right now, he's still blaming everything on Biden. But on the 20th of this month, that will be 6 months. 6 months of his policy, 6 months of his tariffs, 6 months of him running the country. This is his show. He fired everyone. Literally, he fired all employees. So can't blame it on the deep state because they're all gone. You let them go. You fired them. So now that they're gone, this is you. Everything that's happening from here on out is all you. And guess what? Nothing's fucking cheaper. Gas is still the same. Groceries are still expensive. Or, really, I went to the store the other day. The same thing. I buy the same meals every week. They keep going up.
Yesterday, $1.99 a gallon. There's 2 states, 3 states were selling gasoline at $1.99. You haven't seen that for a long time. And I brought costs way down. Just about every cost. I can't think of a cost that went up.
What is happening? Everything is expensive still and getting more expensive. And private companies are starting to lay people off and not hiring anybody at all. So your economy seems to be a little... Just saying, this is on you. At what point...
Trump's economy. $6.99 before the election. I brought receipts. A $3 price hike. Are we winning yet? Trump's economy.
Trump just telling NBC News that it's okay if America enters a short recession thanks to his trade war.
Are you comfortable with the country potentially dipping into a recession for a period of time if you are able to achieve your long-term goals?
Well, you say some people on Wall Street say, well, I tell you something else. Some people on Wall Street say that we're going to have the greatest economy in history.
Is it okay in the short term to have a recession?
This. Look, everything's okay. What we are, I said, this is a transition period. I think we're going to do fantastically.
Of course, Trump has promised an economic boom on day one. As for a windfall from those tariffs, if that's what he's referring to, that's not something people on Wall Street have thought about, at least in terms of a windfall.
Aaron, one word I heard there from the president, it's something we've been hearing really all week, a transition. We're in a transition period. The economy is going to be in a transition period. That was not a word that was used when Donald Trump was running for office. There was no mention of a transition period through his tariff policies. Essentially, hold on.
Trump just telling NBC News that it's okay if...
So I'm assuming you voted for Trump. And if you did, let me know. If you didn't, let me know. But more so importantly, how are you and your family? How do you feel today? Some lint on my screen. How do you feel right now? This is July 10, 2025. July 10, 2025. How do you feel? And whether you voted for Trump or not, let me know. And say, financially, how do you feel? I voted for Trump and I feel the economy is better and getting better. Or I didn't vote for Trump and I feel like the economy is exactly where it was and it's going to get worse or whatever. Just kind of curious.
Trump made his pitch on how to save the American economy today, and he had 4 main points. And I'm going to prove to you why they're either all not going to work or factually wrong. The first one is lower taxes within America's borders. So let's take a look at how much that would cost. $5.8 trillion. I'll say that again. $5.8 trillion. Now, point number 2 responds to point number 1 by saying that we're going to impose tariffs to pay for these lower taxes. How much money can we actually make from tariffs? Here you go, $1.5 trillion. That's $4.3 trillion short of covering the cost of his tax cuts. So unless you want to add $4.3 trillion to our national deficit, this plan ain't gonna work. Next is to produce more oil to lower energy costs and combat inflation. There are 2 major problems with this. Number 1 is that we already produce more oil now than we ever have, and it's not affecting prices. So this whole energy costs equals lower prices overall theory can just go straight out the fucking window. And second, inflation has already been solved. Inflation and prices are 2 entirely different things, and our inflation rate is currently 2.9%, which is exactly where economists want it to be. And last on his list is a factually wrong statement that he wants to lower interest rates to reduce costs for businesses and consumers. But the problem is, presidents don't control the interest rate. All it takes is a simple Google search of who sets the interest rates in the US to know it's the Federal Reserve. And another simple Google search of does the president control the Fed? The answer is no. Policy decisions do not have to be approved by the president because the Fed is an independent agency. So just to go over this again, too expensive, does not cover the cost, already do it and it doesn't work, and then has no control over it. So Trump's vision on how he's going to save the American economy is based on 4 pillars that don't have any foundation in reality. Trump...
Is the price right enough, pun intended, I suppose, Mr. Secretary, to refill the Strategic Petroleum Reserve right now?
Oh, absolutely. We are refilling the reserve now, and we will continue to refill the reserve the whole time I'm in office. You know, that was just such an irresponsible action to drain that reserve so quickly for electoral reasons. And in fact, it was drained so fast, it did some damaging to the facilities. And so right now, we only can fill 2 of the 4 major salt caverns we have. So we're doing repair work on the other 2. We're slowly filling the other 2. And I'm trying to get some funds through Congress that'll give us a longer-term runway to fill the Strategic Petroleum Reserve at the fastest rate we can.
I want to move on to something that I noticed yesterday on the Hill, where we saw a verbal takedown that you did of the Fed chair, Jerome Powell. Of course, huge contention about his refusal to lower interest rates in the United States, despite no signs of inflation. Here's a snippet for our viewers.
It says the Federal Reserve plays no role in commenting on trade policy. So you don't comment on supply shocks. You don't comment on tax policy, which clearly affects inflation. You comment on tariffs. So I'm going to just show you.
I don't comment on tariffs at all, actually. I comment on inflation.
You've only commented on tariffs. You've
I'm
only
not commenting on the wisdom of tariffs.
You are costing this government $400 billion a year by refusing to lower interest rates. I just think that you should consider whether you're really looking at this from a fiscal lens or a political lens, because you just don't like tariffs.
Powell is infuriated that Trump's tariffs have not caused a recession or inflation. Should he be removed given the damage he's causing this country? One man?
Absolutely, Laura. He cost this country over $400 billion a year. Plus, this is just the federal government, our cost of borrowing, plus homeowners, people who take out car loans, people who have credit card debt, businesses that are trying to get loans. One man should not be able to cost this economy, this country that much because he has a personal beef with the President of the United States. This guy's term is up next May. I've advocated that he should be immediately removed. We can put somebody in there. If we just lowered our rates to where Japan is, who has higher inflation, Japan has higher inflation than we do, we would save hundreds of billions of dollars. We're in the middle of a tough reconciliation bill where we have to make compromises on what we're going to cut. We wouldn't have to do any of that if we had a person that was willing to just do the rational thing and cut interest rates, which is the common sense thing to do. This guy needs to go. He's a partisan.
He's facing accusations of lying to Congress, which is a potential crime, about the opulent.
Well, he should resign immediately. It's going to lower interest rates.
Do you want congressional
Why don't
Republicans
you call for his resignation?
Do you want congressional Republicans to investigate and
It's
pursue?
okay with me. I think he's terrible. I think, look, we're paying, I call him too late. T-O-O, too late. Like Too Tall Jones for the Dallas Cowboys, right? Too late. He's always late. But he wasn't late with Biden before the election. He was cutting him like crazy. It didn't help too much, did it? But he was cutting him like crazy before the election with Kamala and Biden. He was trying to get them in, I guess. I don't know. He was recommended by somebody that worked for me. I like you better.
If I could ask the Attorney General.
I have a confession. I was once hopeful for the Trump administration. Yes, I'm aware that was naive, but I was hopeful that he might give us a great economy for a decade. Yes, it was foolish. And all the friendly propaganda aside, Trump treated the American economy the same way he treats his own businesses. Ride the investor money, screw the worker, and if it doesn't work out, declare bankruptcy. So let's take a look at what actually happened. Trump inherited the longest straight period of economic growth in American history, and although it was fraught with problems of issues of its own, wages still stagnating. And what was the first thing that Trump did? He canceled TPP, the Trans-Pacific Partnership. Most people don't know much about what that was and assume that it was supposed to be a good thing that it was canceled. But TPP was supposed to open up alternative Asian markets so we wouldn't be so reliant upon China. We got a good up-close look at the issues that are created by having too many eggs in a single basket during the COVID supply chain mess. TPP would have helped relieve some of that trouble.
I hope you guys are enjoying this video. We've got so much more to talk about and discuss, and I'm just going to keep it real. I'm going to share with you my thoughts and opinions, and any other information supporting evidence or current events that may have come across my feed on X that I feel are appropriate for this, more so than just gossiping about David Muir's tight t-shirt. Okay, I think that there's far more important things here at stake and bigger fish to fry that people would actually prefer to have meaningful and quantifiable results at the end, or today, right now, but at the very least, the end of Trump's presidency, his second term, than knowing whose name's on a list, if you catch my drift. Not that there's anything wrong with spending your time gossiping over the latest nonsense that's being pushed across the entire internet, but honestly, guys, I don't give a shit. I don't give a damn, and it's not going to have any bearing or impact on my life personally from the ability of being able to afford anything. Car, house, interest rates, jobs, unemployment, the price of groceries, you name it, folks. I feel like there's a large percentage of the population out there that probably agrees and would more so prefer to at least have an opportunity to increase their earning potential or just save some money. I know earning more money is definitely, it scares people for sure, for a variety of different reasons. And, If you want to discuss any of those, then feel free, reach out and let's talk. But at the same time, you can try to save some money, right? And so that's why I think it's an amazing and tremendous opportunity to share with you Chapter, our partner and sponsor for our videos, and their amazing team that has helped so many people, seniors on Medicare, save money. And so if you or anyone you know falls into that category and would like to find out if there's not only a better option when it comes to healthcare, answers to questions as it relates to your personal healthcare, Medicare, and more so importantly, the opportunity of saving money, then just give them a call. The number's on the screen, 270-467-2426. I'll add it in the description and pin comment, and give them a shout, give them a ring if you want to find out if you can save some money on your Medicare.
Hey Rack, I'm a teacher and I can barely afford to pay rent with my salary. My salary bi-weekly is basically my rent minus $500. Guess how much my car is? $400. Guess how much insurance is? $100. Oh yeah, that's right. You do the math. I'm left with owing money at the end of the month. That's not even with groceries. Holy, that's not even with groceries. I realize every single month I am transferring money out of savings into my checking, and I am not. Just had the realization in the car that I'm actually gonna go into debt if I continue being a teacher. Like, genuinely. Wow. Oh, I'm like literally having a crisis right now. I'm gonna have a panic attack right now. I can't do this. I literally cannot do this. Knowing every single month that most of my money is literally like, I don't have money. Okay. I don't know how I'm gonna pay off my credit card this month. I don't know. All right. Well, rats, peace and blessings. And I hope you can afford your rent today and groceries and your car and insurance and life. Bye. Hey, Rack.
I hope she doesn't teach math.
You ever look around and realize that you're paying monthly just to exist? Like, not to live comfortably, not to build wealth, but just to be here. You don't own your time, you don't own your home. Hell, half of us don't even own our own car. But we damn sure own the stress. They've literally turned life into a subscription box. Rent, that's your roof over your head package. Groceries, that's the try not to starve this week bundle. Car note, insurance, utilities, Wi-Fi, phone, healthcare, dental. And don't forget the taxes on the things that you've already paid for. And if you mess up the order of your bills by just one day, here comes the overdraft fee. Like a punishment for struggling incorrectly. We're not living, we're leasing survival from the same system that profits when we're drowning. And I heard somewhere they want to start charging monthly fees to unlock your car's seat warmers. For real? Is that a thing? Somebody tell me. This can't be life. This can't be life. But overall, this isn't just about bills, right? This is about how ownership has just been snatched out of reach, like on purpose. Our parents could buy a house on one income and still afford vacations. We can't even get a studio apartment without 5 roommates, a cosigner, and a prayer. College used to mean opportunity. Now it means $80,000 in debt for a degree that you'll probably never use. And every time you think you're catching up, they change the rules. Raise the rent, jack up the food prices, add another convenience fee. Because they don't want you to own anything. They want you tied in, logged out. Auto drafting. Just comfortable enough to not riot, but never secure enough to exhale. And the wildest part? You start blaming yourself. Like, why can't I get ahead? Why am I always behind? Because you were never supposed to win in a system where surviving comes with a monthly bill.
Now, some of these reels, I don't believe. I don't think that with intense amounts of editing that someone realized at that point in time that they all of a sudden can't afford to pay their bills. Not to say that it's not real. I just don't believe it, especially considering how there's a typical trend here that oftentimes brings in more visibility and engagement and impressions and views and reach and conversions and money than not. And you'd be amazed at how many people pretend to be poor and unable to afford their bills on social media so that they in turn earn large amounts of money from viewership, paid promotions, and donations, and are living very comfortably. In fact, probably maybe even considered rich. However, in this particular instance, this woman, she says something that really, really struck a chord with me.
No drafting.
The reason, perhaps, why you feel like you can't get ahead, why you're always behind, may not necessarily be because the system is designed in that way. It may be because of the type of content and environment you allow yourself to be subjected to, of people confirming this bias and not actually offering any help, aid, or assistance, and just reminding you of what life is. Challenging, especially for the weak, especially for the lazy, especially for those who would prefer to hear some woman who seems very kind and relatable with a soft voice and a colorful microphone side with you, relate with you. She probably has more money than you.
So no, you're not lazy. You're not bad with money. You're just stuck in a country that made existence a subscription plan and then had the nerve to blame you for struggling. And the worst part is that they don't even want you to win. They want you busy, broke, grateful, distracted, not paying attention. Because if you ever stop long enough to realize what was actually going on, you burn the whole damn game board and they know it. This country doesn't run on freedom. It runs on monthly payments and your silence. And I don't know about you, but I'm tired of auto-renewing struggle.
Hey, and she brings up some very valid points, especially I like how she never really picks and chooses a side. Granted, the timing could allude to, a particular party or whatever, but she says the country, because odds are if you're broke now, you're struggling now, you're paying a monthly fee and subscription for stress now, you were last year, the year before that, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 8 years ago, 10, 12 years ago, possibly. You see what I'm saying? And then she says, if, you caught wind, you'd burn the whole game board. Well, yeah, it's a game for sure. And there will be winners and there will be losers. As I've said this before, and in fact, the game that's being played, many of us aren't even, will never even have an opportunity to play. We have to actually play our own game within the game, if that makes sense.
So let me get this straight. We can't afford rent because rent prices are increasing so much to push us out to buy homes. But the interest rate is so high, you can't buy a home. And also you're not going to get funded for a home because of your debt to income ratio. So then what? And then homelessness or houselessness is becoming criminalized. So then what? I don't understand. To be honest, I really like the idea of building a commune, aside from like the culty aspect of it, but essentially buying land, driving vans, building a tiny houses on it, and everyone shares. So
Now, what I'm about to say may piss a lot of landlords off, but I don't really care at all. But I'm going to read to y'all the qualifications that this person wants for this house. And it ain't an amazing ass house. We're not talking about anything super expensive. The rent, like I said, is $16.95, $40 application fee per adult. They want you to make 3.5 times the rent. Standard for whatever reason is 3 times the rent. When majority of Americans don't even make 3 times a $1,600 a month rent. I don't know where people just get up and be like, oh yeah, we're just gonna make this a national standard that people have to make 3 times the rent amount. Majority of people can afford 2 times the rent on a specific basic home like this. But this person is going to even.
So if the income is $5,932.50 a month, that's $71,184 a year. And if it's a family of 2, dual income, that means that combined you would need to make that much, which means you'd have to make $35,592 a year on your own. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but it seems pretty reasonable if you ask me. Seems pretty reasonable if you ask me, as a qualification requirement for someone who's going to be on the hook to pay you back. But literally, as I'm sitting here talking to you, I realize that her math of $5,932.50, I'm not quite sure where she got that from, because 3 times the rent would be $3,390. My bad. $5,085. $5,085. I don't know where she got the $5,932.50 from. So 3 times the rent would be $5,085 a month times 12 months is $61,020 a year. And if you split it between you and whoever else you're renting the house with, I mean, I don't know.
Even further, they don't want you to have 3 times the rent. They want you to have 3.5 times the rent. They want the last,
oh, my bad, 3.5. I jumped the gun.
2 years of your W-2s, the last 3 months of your check stub, driver's license or ID, social security card. They want you to make 2 months worth of rent as your security deposit before you even move in, and you have to have a credit score of at least a 670. I'm trying to tell you off the bat,
I'm trying to tell you that this landlord sounds like they've either been fucked before or they don't want to get fucked now. And if you want to compare the requirements here to being underwritten for a mortgage, then TikTok isn't the place you need to be complaining about your life's struggles of trying to rent. Okay, if you're so upset with this, just go buy. Just go buy a house. Just do that. Just do that, because if the rent is $1,700, I'm gonna round up. If the rent's $1,700, then I would assume that the home's price is going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of hang on, I got an email. Damn email's listening to me. It's telling me about these properties that are available for me to invest in. That's weird. That's spooky. But it's not the first time that it's happened. And it's Jeff Bezos and his arrived investment program for real estate. But anyway, I'm going to ask Grok. I'm actually going to ask Grok. I'll ask Grok 4 expert level. It's going to take a little bit longer to get a response, but I'm going to ask Grok if let's see here. All right. If a landlord is asking for $1,695 per month for rent, and assuming this includes a reasonable profit being made, what would be the expected home value at that monthly rent lease price? So I'm gonna say 200,000. And so basically Grok 4 is analyzing, it's restating the question, and it's actually showing you what it's doing and how it's formulating and coming to this conclusion. And like I said, it takes a little bit longer. This is the second time I've used it. This is the second time I used it today. And I don't know if this is going to be like a reoccurring theme every single time, but this is like citing its sources, letting you know where it's getting this information from, rather than potentially pulling shit out of its ass and giving you an answer that's completely incorrect and or totally woke and biased. However, I'm sticking with around 200. I'm going to stick with around $200,000 based on this $1,695 a month rent. And it looks like I was way under. Ooh, I was way under. Yeah, I mean, even if it's 305, you have to put down a considerable down payment. But we'll see. We'll see what Grok comes back with. Man, this is some really good information. This is really good information. Michelle's telling me she's going to Publix. Okay, now we're back to 200,000. Maybe my initial guess was pretty freaking close. I will say that Grok 4 Expert is extremely thorough here. So be patient if you're waiting for an answer or a response from Grok 4 Expert. I wonder what would the process be if I just asked Grok 4 Expert, what is the sum of 1 plus 1? Would it say 2, or would it go through this entire lengthy process to give me the origins of mathematics? So it took 3 minutes, 3 minute 1 second. So 181 seconds to produce this answer. To estimate the expected home value based on a monthly rent of $1,695, assuming the rent allows for a reasonable profit, we can use the gross rent multiplier, GRM, approach, which is a common method in real estate to value rental properties based on gross rental income. The annual gross rent is $1,695 times 12, which is $20,340. The nationwide average GRM for U.S. rental properties is approximately 13.78 as of late 2024, with similar trends into 2025. This multiplier accounts for market conditions where landlords set rents to cover expenses, maintenance, vacancies, and achieve a reasonable profit margin, typically after operating costs of 35 to 50% of gross rent, yielding a net return aligned with average cap rates of 4 to 6% for residential properties. Property value equals annual gross rent times GRM equals $20,340 times 13.78, which equals $280,300. This estimate represents a typical market value for a home renting at this price, varying by location, property condition, and local market dynamics. In high-cost areas, the value could be higher. For example, $350,000 plus with lower yields. In affordable markets, lower, example, $200,000 with higher yields. So there you have it, folks. But for the sake of this and time, we're going to ignore this breaking news about Tom Brady and Sofia Vergara dating. I feel like he's definitely going to do better than Bezos with Sofia, but come on now. Either way, we're going to revert back to Grok 3 for speed. Grok 3 is built for speed. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this rent. I'm going to say someone on TikTok is complaining that a landlord requires the following in order to be considered qualified as a renter. And so we got rent $1,695. I gotta move this over. Rent $1,695. Application fee $40 per renter. Income $5,932.50. $5,932.50 per month, which is 3.5 times monthly rent. 2 years of W-2, 3 months of check stubs, identification security deposit, $3,390, and a credit score 670. So that's what's required. How does this compare, for example, if this person just wanted to purchase a home that cost $280,000 today with average mortgage interest rates in the 7% range with excellent credit, but the applicant only has a 670 credit score. So Grok 3 should give us a much faster response here. It doesn't give you all the breakdowns of where it got it from, like as it's doing it, but as you can see, this response was produced in a much shorter time frame than 181 minutes or seconds. I'm sorry, 3 minutes, 1 second of the other one. It felt like 181 minutes. And I don't know if this one tells you how long it took to produce. It's got charts and shit. Oh man. All right. I think this is pretty thorough, and I think that because it's technical, and not personal or like political or opinion based, that Grok 3 is still relatively good given its recent headlines. It made headlines. So I don't know how long that was, but I'd say it's probably like 30 seconds, 45 seconds to get that answer. And I'm not going to read it all because, no. In conclusion, the landlord's requirements, while strict, even Grok says it's strict, are within industry norms and far less demanding than those for purchasing a $280,000 home. Renting requires roughly $3,430 upfront, $1,715 a month, and $71,190 a year income, compared to $35,200 upfront, $2,353 a month in income, which is $100,848 a year for buying. The user's 670 credit score is sufficient for both, but results in a higher mortgage rate, adding $94 a month compared to a 760 score. And if the rental requirements feel burdensome, buying a $280,000 home would likely be out of reach without significant financial improvement. Renting appears more practical unless the user can save substantially and boost their income and credit score. But where was I? Oh, yeah, here.
Off the bat, that disqualifies so many people from being able to be in a home that is decent. Let's add that up, why don't we? Off the rip, you have to pay first month's rent, $16.95. You have to pay $40 application fee per adult, and let's just say the standard adult is 2 adults, right? You have to pay, if you have a pet, which majority of people in Houston do have pets, dogs, it's a $250 non-refundable fee per pet. So let's just say you have a pet. We're going to add that up. And then you have to make 2 months of the rent to equal the amount of the security deposit. So that's $16.95 times 2. All right. And on top of that, we're not even talking about your utilities and all the things that you have set up. They want you to have rental insurance before you move in. Standard rental insurance is probably about $25 a month. Let's just say that. Before you can even move into this house, sitting in a savings account somewhere or just idle money, you already got to come off of this amount of money. I don't know at what point we stop being human, though. Even as an investor and a landlord, at what point did we stop being human and we say money trumps everything, including people? I don't get it. Now, what I'm about
this is not a matter of being human. This is a matter of mathematics and a risk assessment and thinking about literally if this is the norm or slightly more stringent and strict. I mean, it could be Houston. Maybe Houston has such a problem where landlords are like, this is it. This is the only way I'm willing to put my property, my investment, my asset, my income, as landlords need to make money too, at risk. And I guess, the good thing is as a renter, you could get that security deposit back. So there's that. But I don't know. I don't subscribe to this type of logic or mindset of complaining. I only look at it and say, okay, well, again, if you want to go buy this same house, you know what it takes. Well, I know, she probably doesn't know. If you're complaining about it, just go buy the house. Okay. But odds are, if you're complaining about this, you're going to complain far more about buying the house. Let's say you do. Once you go through that process, what would it take for you to risk your asset, your money, your credit, potential bankruptcy or not, future, on letting someone live in it because you want to give them cheap rent? You want to offer it to an underqualified tenant who can't produce identification, prove to you they have a job, provide you with savings and money in the bank, and literally put some of their skin into the game in exchange for a property that you've stuck your neck out on the line for. And if you didn't, you paid cash. A $280,000 investment that you've made on your own, depending on the market, and you carry that risk and burden every day just so that you can be, she says the difference between human and not, or whatever, however she phrased it. She's got a lot to learn. She's got a lot to learn. I think we need far more of this information, these conversations and talks online, rather than people complaining about how much rent is and the requirements of such. We gon' rock it till the wheels fall off. Hold up. So this one here, I'll just read it to you. And she says, I have $80,000 in debt. Tell me the most unhinged way you've paid off debt. And I don't mean, I sold on Facebook Marketplace. I'm talking fully unhinged. Please and thank you. Now, there's some comments here. We got like a couple comments that pop up. First one here says, I stopped going in Target and Walmart. Grocery pickup only. And this is completely unrelated, but man, somebody recorded themselves walking out of a Target in Colorado, and it kind of inspired me to want to get back on the road. That and a YouTube video I saw earlier today. I'll show you guys, and it's making me want to go out and travel again and make content on the road and share with you guys. The other one here says, don't mind me, just looking for ideas. And we can learn from each other, right? And this one says, every time I wanted something besides necessity, I would calculate costs and apply towards debt. Sacrifice, no eating out, no Starbucks, no extra clothing, no vacations until debt's paid off. It says, cash is king. Cash is king. Cash is king. I know I'm going to trigger some folks in the comments when they hear that. Anyway. This sparked this question in my mind of, albeit rhetorical, what would you do? What would you do to make money? What would you do to increase your earnings? What would you do to fix your credit? Which, as we saw earlier, if that young lady had higher levels of income and improved credit score, she probably wouldn't be making a video about renting, or at least the gripes and challenges and stress and burden she bears of renting. This popped up on my feed, and it's she says she's a stripper, and she's talking about how much money she made.
Woohoo! This is how much I make in a week as a Miami stripper during slow season, which is summer. So I just left work. Tonight's Monday. It's my first night working. Made a whopping $193. Woohoo! Tonight is Wednesday. It's my second night working this week because I took last night off, and I made $53, sorry. Honestly, the one customer I had tonight was incredibly handsy and aggressive and was just like crossing all my boundaries the entire time and was so obnoxious, so this literally doesn't even feel like enough. The last night was Thursday, and I had a dinner date with one of my regulars, and he gave me our usual $7,000. Don't mind my nail broken off. He also prepaid me $3,000 for our next date in August, so I have that here, but I'm not going to count that as part of this because this is going towards our next date. So We'll just say 7,000 for Thursday. Last night was Friday. It was the 4th of July. I had 2 regulars come in for me. They were the only 2 customers I had all night. And I made $7,640. It was obviously a very unexpected, crazy night. Like most girls did pretty well in the club tonight. The last night that I worked was Saturday and I made $4,660. So definitely a really good Saturday. That means that my total for 4 nights of work at the club plus the 1 dinner date was $20,246.
Cash is king.
This is how much
Cash is king. And oh yeah, no tax on tips. But this is not me promoting that industry or lifestyle, but more so just asking the question of, well, what would you do? You know, if that young lady made $20,000 in a week, and this lady here is $80,000 in debt, then in a month you could be out of debt. But the question really is, or maybe the answer that I'm looking for is, whatever it takes. Literally, whatever it takes. Yeah. How much you think he makes? How much you think he makes doing that? Flooring, carpet, skilled trade. Actually, I'm saving that. I'm saving these for my car channel.
When your rent goes up $200, but they only gave you a 30-cent raise. So in the close of my lease in 2022, my rent was $50. For the next year, they brought it up to $11.50. The next year, they brought it up to $15.50. When they asked me to renew it, they brought it up to $1,800. That is a $750 increase from a third renewal period. $750. That's like 70%. The thing about this that hurts so much is that you have an entire system looking you right in the face and telling you they can't do more, while they have absolutely increased their own prices, far outpacing inflation. They have increased all of CEO compensation. They have increased executive compensation. They have done everything that they can to make sure that those in power are going to get theirs. They're going into these meetings and telling you that they've made record profits, but they don't have the money to pay the very people that are building those profits. Looking you in the face and giving you a 30-cent, 50-cent, even a dollar raise. A dollar raise is $160 a month. People's rent payments have gone up $500, $600, $700 across 3 to 4 years. Their grocery payments, if they are, let's just say a
dollar raise is $160 a month before tax if you only work 40 hours a week for 4 weeks.
2-person family with 1 kid, their grocery payments alone are like $700 a month to feed a family of 3, and that's doing it really cheap. That's feeding a family of 3 on $21 a day. We are being lied to. We're not being gaslit because we know the difference. It's like somebody with glassy eyes looking right at you and going, no, the sky really is polka dot. And you're like, it's literally not. Why are you even doing this? But the whole system is getting on the news, and they're getting in your one-on-ones, and they're getting in your annual reviews, and the newspapers are saying it, and everybody you know that actually has money is looking you right in the face and going, no, everything is fine. You just have to work harder. You just have to go get one of those high-paying jobs that only this many of them exist. And they're bleeding money out of you. Wages have not gone up in 50 years in the same way that prices and executive and like CEO level, upper management level compensation, we are being lied to every moment of every day about what they can and can't do, and people are at an angry, terrible breaking point.
I mean, we are in unprecedented times, and at the same time, I would say that technology and opportunity has also increased substantially, exponentially, far more now than ever before.
Being poor in 2025 is a choice, not a circumstance. You have a smartphone, internet, and time. That's all you need to make money online or in property. If you're broke, maybe it's because you're choosing comfort over learning.
So, 2 sides to every coin, right? I play a little bit of devil's advocate here. I like to look at things from different perspectives. You know, I can understand and I can be compassionate, but I can also say, well, odds are, if you're complaining about this and posting your complaints online, I'd be willing to bet that your recent view watch history doesn't include any content that would actually help you solve these problems. And more than likely, you're just consuming other people's complaints and more of the bad news headlines that are being created and manufactured by the mainstream media. That's really the problem. That's what keeps you down. That's what holds you back.
100 grand a year is the fastest way to get broke. If you make 100 grand a year, you've been lied to. You were raised thinking, oh, I'm a 6-figure earner. If I can get to 100 grand a year, life is going to be amazing. When you make 100 grand a year, you're the poorest of the middle class people. You think life is going to be so much better, and then you realize, oh, it's really just not that much more. So at 100 grand, you tend to get into debt you can't afford. You end up screwing up your cash flow. At 100 grand a year, you have to pretend you're still making 50. 100 grand a year.
So this one here's another one. She doesn't say anything, but it says, I'll tell you what it says on the screen. She says, me, proudly paying my $2,400 mortgage like a responsible adult. Bank. Haha, babe. It's actually $3,000 now. Your escrow was just kidding. How many people have been in that situation and escrow just is like, nah, bruh, we're going up. We're going up higher than before. This one here, I'll have to pause it because it's got copyright music. I don't want to get a strike. But the caption says, just didn't think it'd be like this. And what you see above her head, it says, shit that goes through my head while delivering pizza with a master's degree. Let that sink in. Delivering pizza with a master's degree. And she's delivering pizza with a master's degree, driving in a seemingly newer Jeep Wrangler, which if you guys haven't seen how expensive Jeep Wranglers are today, yeah, make it. If you're going to go look, you're going to want to be sitting down before you check out that MSRP sticker price.
Year to date, I've just made under $1 million and I have about 7 streams of income, but here's how much I spend per month. First major expense is my mortgage. So for this house, about $25,000 a month. Ooh. My next major expense is my car payments. So I have my Ferrari 488 Pista, 812 GTS, my wife's 911 convertible, and then I have my Raptor R. One of them's paid off. The rest, I spend about $13,000 a month in car payments. Next one's going to be insurance. So how much do I spend in insurance for health, car payments, home insurance?
I guess that one's kind of interesting because even the earlier reel we saw at 100 grand a year in income, it can allow you to get into more debt. There was an image of a Tesla Model S as an example. But here at, this 29-year-old and his extreme income is still in debt, technically, with multiple car payments due every month.
All that stuff. It's just right about $2,500 a month. Next up is food. How much do I spend on food per month? About $4,000 between me and my wife. Next is going to be some personal expenses. This is kind of a little bit of everything with like maintenance or subscriptions, gym memberships, fucking random things around the house. Give or take, it depends on the month, but it could be anywhere between $5,000 and $15,000 a month. So that brings my total monthly spend to under $60,000 a month, but that also doesn't include things like the allowance I give my wife or my mom as well, or charitable expenses as well, and things like that. Most of the income comes from my e-commerce businesses, which are Amazon related, and I dabble also into some real estate investments. I have automotive shop as well, a couple software companies, etc.
I will say that this is a really bold move because putting this out there and this information as transparent as he has, the comment section can be a dangerous place. But you just never know. You honestly never know. And, you could reach an audience of folks that you inspire, potential customers, clients, and business opportunity, or a bunch of haters.
This is a 33-year-old surgeon with a household income of $655,000 a year. And I'm going to...
So this is one that I wanted to show you because, just talking about budgets, and I just thought it was interesting. And, just see how things stack up, see how we compare.
show you exactly how she spends her money. Her husband has a salary of $120,000 a year, and she has a salary of $515,000 a year. And the remainder of that $655,000 comes from bonuses from both of their jobs. After taxes and deductions, they're bringing home a combined $16,533 every paycheck, and they're both paid twice a month. Her and her husband own a house that they got from an inheritance, and all they pay is property taxes at $1,000 a month. She was also able to use that inheritance to pay for her bachelor's and her medical school, so she pays $0 toward her student loans.
I guess what's most impressive here is being a surgeon at 33. That's pretty impressive. But then also realizing that with this level of income and everything, that they're still paying someone to help them budget.
She spends $3,000 a month on charity. She spends $1,400 a month on doggy daycare. She pays $2,000 a month on food. And just below her husband's frat dues, all of their expenses come out to $10,761 every single month. By the way, if you want this budget, it is fully automated. I will give it to you absolutely for free. Just let me know in the comments.
Okay, never mind. They don't pay him to help them with their budget, which actually makes sense because nowhere on their budget does it include any cost per month for these services. So I misspoke incorrectly. Sorry about that.
As we get over to the right side, this number is most important because it's how much money they have left after all of their expenses have been paid. From there, you can choose a monthly allowance. This is fun money, so you can do whatever you want with this, and I gave them a very healthy $16,000 a month. Now, the way this budget works, every time they get paid, money automatically flows into 3 bank accounts all within the same bank. I coined this the Cooper budgeting system. So they have a spending account, a bill pay account where all their expenses get automatically pulled from, and a high yield savings account. This last number is their emergency fund, and this number is auto-calculated based off of 3 months of spending and bill pay. And after all is said and done, she's saving $6,300 a month, roughly 19% of her income. Let me know what your thoughts are. If you had this kind of money, would you spend it this way? Like, follow, and comment for more. This is a 33-year-old.
Yeah, that's wild because at the end, or the 3 months, think about it, the 3 month, see if I can get him to move out of the way. Emergency fund is $80,283. And then on another video, one young lady was saying that she was $80,000 in debt. And these folks have an emergency fund that could easily cover her debt, while the other young lady could make $20,000 in a week and wipe out all of that other TikTokers, influencers debt in a month. And stay locked in. Stick with me here, folks, and don't miss a thing. Be sure to check out the links down below, and at the bottom of the description, there's an opt-in for my free money-saving community, and you're more than welcome to join if you'd like, and get the latest updates and an invitation to exclusive events, including my free mastermind. Free. The Stay Free community is 100% free to join and discover money-saving tips, passive income ideas, easy investing, how-tos, and more. We look forward to seeing you guys over there. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, let me know and subscribe.